Hey everybody, welcome back to the Scarnati Swim Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Scarnati. I'm a certified self-rescue swim instructor. I also teach strokes and diving lessons in the Spring Hill, Florida area. I am on a nonprofit organization called Swim for CJ, and we raise money for water safety initiatives and swim scholarships in Hernando County, Florida. I'm also an underwater hypoxic blackout prevention ambassador, and I educate people in my area on why breath holding games are not safe for your children in the water. This podcast is dedicated to all the parents or people out there who want to learn more about water safety. Perhaps you have a child and you want to learn more, or maybe you are a person who is never properly introduced to water safety. But what I want for this podcast is for it to be a safe and open place for people to come to ask questions without judgment, getting feedback from water safety professionals. And I'm not the only one out there that has great feedback, but I am one of the few that's brave enough to step out into the world and take on social media and podcasts head on. In the future, you will see many wonderful guests on this podcast, but for now, you have just me. Today's episode is going to be about water safety barriers and resources on water safety available for you and your child to start building water safety awareness at home. We teach children safety measures all the time. As children, we teach them how to dial 911. We teach them how to stop, drop, and roll, not to talk to strangers, why it's important to hold hands when crossing the street, and to look both ways to make sure nobody is driving or whatever the case may be when we cross the street. We need to add water safety to that list of things that we teach kids about. Drowning is the leading cause of death in children 1 to 4, and it's the second leading cause of death in children 5 to 12. We need to start talking about water safety because the approach that we've taken to water safety up until this point is no longer effective. Drownings are the highest they've ever been. So I want to utilize my platform and utilize this podcast to educate you guys as parents or as individuals even on water safety and steps that you could take at home that would make all the difference when it comes down to your child. So, starting off with water safety barriers, effective supervision. We want to make sure that anyone that is around the pool with children is a designated water watcher, right? We want to make sure that we have eyes on our children, no distractions, no phones, no conversations or anything like that. We want to make sure that we're in the water with our children at all times, right? There's so many times, which topic for another video, but there's so many times where parents kind of put flotation on their kids and let them play in the water. That's not cool. You should always be within arm's reach of your child. Just because they're in a flotation device does not make them safe in water. You need to have effective supervision, and that effective supervision is going to be within arm's reach of your child if they are not fully skilled, and to have direct eyes on them or someone specifically to keep an eye on them to make sure that everyone in the pool is safe. If you have pool parties often at your home, or if you're going to I don't know, a place where you're having a party that has a pool, consider a lifeguard. I'm sure there's more than plenty of teenagers out there that are certified as lifeguards that wouldn't mind making a couple bucks on the weekends, or maybe they'd be willing to volunteer for your birthday party in exchange for volunteer hours for their school. I'm sure you could find a way to make that happen. But if you're having a party, I highly recommend a lifeguard. One of my husband's coworkers, lifeguards for our parties, highly recommend. All the parents are in the water with their kids anyway, but it's just an extra set of eyes and to make double and triple sure that the kids are safe at any given moment in the pool and nothing gets overlooked. Moving on from effective supervision would be door locks and alarms. And this is a big one. I've had many conversations with people that have either experienced a situation with a child or they had a close call. If you're house has a door or window to the outside of the home opened, there should be a chime or alarm that sounds. And I say that because I've talked to parents that had a newborn, turn the chime off, and their toddler got out of the house and they didn't know, because there was no sound to indicate that they had exited the home. So doors, locks, and alarms, the chimes are important. You also want to make sure that you have secondary locks on the doors that are out of the reach of children. So, what I mean by that is to not utilize just the door handle lock on the door. There are secondary locks like burglar bars, or they have like latch locks similar to hotel doors. You always want to have a secondary lock on the door outside of the reach of the child, to make sure that if they were to just so happen to figure out how to unlock that door for the first time, there's a secondary lock behind it to stop them from getting out of the door. A burglar bar is a plastic bar that flips up on a slider. So when you go to slide it open, the door stops. Again, you have the latches, or even like the chains on the doors. And if you look at those doors, the chain is never at handle level, right? It's always up top. So it's out of the reach of kids. So just highly recommend a secondary lock in addition to the door and window chimes for your children. So effective supervision, door locks and alarm, pool fences. Make sure that you have a four-sided pool fence. And if you do have a four-sided pool fence, you want to make sure that there is no furniture that is near the pool fence or close enough to the pool fence that the child can either push it to the pool fence to get over the pool fence or to utilize it to jump and get to the pool fence. You just want to make sure that the parameters of the pool fence are clear and that the child does not have any additional things that they can step up to get over the fence. You also want to make sure that the pool fence itself is effective and that nothing's going to fall down. I have seen videos of fully operating pool fences and children climbing over them. So the idea behind these water safety barriers is for your child to be at point A and the water source being point B. And you want to make sure that you have as many obstacles as possible for them to get through in order to get to point B. The more layers of protection that you have in place, the longer it's going to take them to get there. And it buys you more time as the parent to catch what's going on before they get to that water source. And I say water source and not just pool because there's creeks, retention ponds, puddles, ditches, you name it. There's drowning risks all over. I will insert here to say if you have any doggy doors in your home, please make sure that they're permanently closed off so that the child cannot utilize the doggy door to get outside, because that is also an additional risk. And I say that because maybe you don't have a pool in your home, but your parents do, or the person watching your child does, or you're going on vacation and that home has a doggy door, or a pool, or whatever the case may be. These are just things for you to keep an eye out on, utilize it for building blocks to establish safety in your own home. I'm just saying these things so you have a list to go by. So we have effective supervision, we have door locks and alarms, we have pool fences, high quality swim lessons. And I'm going to put a precursor right here. I totally understand that the aquatic community is shorthanded. There's no doubt about that. There's not enough instructors out there to teach all the children who need lessons. And that's not even getting into tuition and things like that. So I say high quality swim lessons because it is effective and does make a difference when it comes down to drowning prevention. However, I understand that not every family has access to swim lessons. So with that being said, I say high quality swim lessons. These swim lessons should be lessons that prioritize air supply, a float, and lessons in clothing. So if you are out there looking for a swim program, I understand there's ISR, Infant Aquatics, Watch Me Swim. There's so many different self-rescue companies out there that have instructors that offer these life-saving lessons. But when looking for a program, those should be your basic things that you're looking for, which is prioritizing the float, air supply, and lessons in clothing. 69% of drownings happen at non-swim time. So that means that more than half of drownings are happening when children are not supposed to be swimming, flotation is not present, they're not in a bathing suit, and it is likely they're fully clothed. That's why we prioritize clothing lessons. I'm going to break all this down in future videos, but we're just going to worry about water safety barriers for now. Please leave comments. I will answer all the comments and do all that jazz too. But we're going to break everything down and talk about everything in depth and all that good stuff. So, high quality swim lessons. Parents in general should have a CPR and first aid certification covering infants, children, and adults. So that's going to be the fifth barrier is CPR and first aid. Most people don't understand that a pool in your backyard is going to be the most dangerous thing that you ever own because there comes such risk with pools. Any adult in the home with a pool should be certified in CPR and first aid. Heaven forbid something happens, you are completely trained to buy yourself time until first responders can get to your home. It could be life or death in a drowning incident. Adults, it happens to all the time. The elderly, something happens, they trip, they fall. Could be kids too, but they trip, they fall, they hit their head, they fall in the water. Whatever the case may be, every single adult in every home, in my opinion, but especially homes that have pools, please be CPR and first aid certified, covering infants, children, and adults, because they are all three are different. You should be trained to handle each and every one of them in case something happens. So water safety barriers are really important. If you go to any water safety organization online, they're going to have all those safety barriers prepared for you, ready to go. It is a very highly shared and educated and spoken about concept, these water safety barriers. But for those who have never heard them, I highly recommend that's the basis for water safety. There's so many additional things you could do, but if you're looking for basic five, that's the five to start with, is effective supervision, pool door locks and alarm, pool fences, high quality swim lessons, and CPR and first aid certifications. Moving on from that, I want to talk a little bit about resources that we have available for you online to learn additionally about water safety and drowning prevention. So last year, the nonprofit that I am on a board of, we put out a water safety magazine for parents, all things water safety, so many good resources in this magazine. And the good thing for you, it is available online for free. That's right. This water magazine is available online for you to view, read, and educate yourself on for free. So this is the water safety magazine that we came up with. And if you open up the magazine, this front page shows all of these awesome collaborators on this project, mostly water safety professionals in the Hernando County area. And then, of course, the nonprofit Swim for CJ that I am a part of. This is an excellent resource. I'm telling you, if you're a parent, you will greatly, greatly benefit from this. Now, if you're not located in the state of Florida, keep in mind all the drowning statistics in this magazine are for the state of Florida, but that does not mean that there isn't information in here that could benefit you. So going through here, we have articles written, we have drowning statistics. Dana shares her story about being a mom who's lost a child to a drowning. We have table of contents. I mean, like I said, we talk life jacket safety. We talk, difference in lessons, so much stuff in here broken down. Water safety barriers are in here, children with ASD, just so many different resources, I tell you, in this magazine. If you are a parent, you have absolutely nothing to lose. So if you're looking for this water safety magazine, you can go to swimforcj.org and you're going to find the water safety magazine under the resources tab. So if you go to swimforcj.org, hit the resources tab and you will see water safety magazine. It is available for you to view online. It is an absolute amazing resource for you. And again, you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain by reading something like this, because I bet you there's going to be at least one or two things about water safety that you didn't already know, even for the people who know about water safety. I'm telling you, even down to how to wrap your child in a towel so they're less likely to get hurt is in this magazine. Please, please, please read up on it. Highly recommend. So from there, I have some water safety books that I thought would be great to introduce to you guys. This could be for a child who is nervous around water. It could be a child that's about to start swim lessons. It could be you just want to start introducing books on water safety because the time of year is coming around. You guys are going to be using the public pool. There are books on everything. And it helps normalize talking about things to your kids and having healthy conversations. So, when it comes down to these books, I have these books broken down into 3 categories. And when I say 3 categories, I mean based on words, sentence length, pictures. You're not going to get a 2-year-old to sit through a large paragraph. So we're just going to talk about the ones that I have on hand. Violet Finds Her Float is a great book. It is written by a self-rescue swim instructor, and it is available on Amazon. All of the links to these books are going to be available in my Amazon storefront. So I will leave the link in the description of this podcast episode. You can copy and paste it and find all the links to anything that you could think of water safety related is in my Amazon storefront, all the way down to pool alarms, bathing suits, SPF hats. So anything that you need water safety related, please go to my Amazon storefront. It's all there and categorized for you, these books included. From there, Josh the Baby Otter is a great one. Absolutely great one. I would say the sentences are kind of long, but I can tell you that I've read it to younger children and it was perceived really well. Swim Baby Swim is another book that was written by a self-rescue swim instructor. Same thing. Pictures are great. And when I say the reason why I have it broken down is you can see the words. Short, sweet, to the point. Pictures are adorable. So that's why I recommend these ones for the younger kids because the sentences are shorter, the words are bigger. Awesome. Again, simple storylines and just great ways to introduce water safety. So from those 3, moving up to older kids, this one, I think out of all the books that I have is by far my favorite, and it is The Polar Bear That Wouldn't Swim. I absolutely love this one. They bring in other characters in the zoo. It's just the cutest thing ever. Highly recommend. It's adorable. And this one is more of, they go into water safety barriers with your child, including pool drains, which I think is a great talking topic for parents. So I love that we have a book that covers and talks about drains because I thought it was a great topic that hasn't really been talked about in other books. So highly recommend this one. This next one is hard to get your hands on, but I love it. And that's Clifford Takes a Swim. I really like this one. I read it to daycares when I guest speak. It's a great one. Again, it's just really hard to get your hands on because they don't really make these books anymore. Scholastic, hey, we want this book. Make more, please. But yes, highly recommend Clifford Takes a Swim. Moving up, this is going to be like the last tier. So these are going to be for kids like 5 and older because the wording is a lot more, but great books. This is another book that was written by a self-rescue swim instructor, Michelle McKinney. It's called Float Like a Boat, and it is an absolute adorable storyline. But again, many words. So this is really, if you see all the words that are in this book, it really is for kind of older kids. You could probably get a kid 3 or 4 to sit through this, but or maybe you have a kid that has a great attention span. That's awesome. Mine do not. So that's why I break it down, from like youngest to oldest for you guys making purchases out there that has never seen the book. That's the reason why I have the recommendation of order for these books. So Float Like a Boat is a great one. The storyline is so cute and the illustration is absolutely adorable in this book. Same thing with the next one. Highly recommend A Treasure at Sea for Dragon and Me. This is also an amazing, I think this is like my second favorite out of all of them. I don't know why I'm just gravitated to the dragons. I think they're super cute. But again, if you open the book, there's just small letters, a lot of words, which is why I recommend it for the older kids. But even then, the illustrations are absolutely adorable and they touch on many different water safety topics. All of these books do. So I highly recommend these books. Again, they are in my Amazon storefront. You can find links to them, or anything else that you would like to purchase. I get messages all the time on social media asking, what life jackets do you recommend? What door locks do you recommend? I'm renting a house. I'm about to go on vacation. We want to make sure that we have everything safe. There are even portable door locks on Amazon for you to purchase to go on vacation. So anything water safety related, you're going to find in my Amazon storefront. And again, I will leave the link in the description of this podcast. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to make this episode too long because I really want to make sure that everybody is kind of taking in all the information that I'm kind of throwing at you. So yeah, that's going to conclude this week's episode of the Scarnati Swim podcast. You will find us on Spotify on Wednesdays. And again, leave it in the comments. Any questions that you have, any feedback that you have. If you want to leave me a message, I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. My username is at scarnati.swim. That's SCARNATI.SWIM. And again, ask all the questions. I don't mind giving you guys feedback. I don't mind giving you guys advice. If I can't answer your question, I will definitely find someone who can. In this community, it is small, but I'm blessed enough to have as many connections as I do in this community to be able to get that answered for you if I can't answer it myself, and hopefully give you resources along the way to be able to continue your search on the water safety education front. So again, you'll find us on Wednesdays on Spotify, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for having me. And if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.